everybody.
Y'all.
Y'all.
What up, Nick
What's up,
Brain?
Nick?
I'm mentally, emotionally, and physically beat.
Yeah, I know you are. I'm not.
Hell with hell.
I'm nowhere near as busy as you, and it's just one of them days, man. And then the rain started coming in and everything this afternoon, so it just makes it like, just want to sit on the porch and.
Makes me want to start drinking again, right now.
I was about to say sit on the porch and have a beer.
Yeah, that sounds amazing right now.
Oh,
what up,
goodness.
Stephen? You ain't too late. You just like, hell yeah. You say that until you get a storm in your shop and you got to run it. It is not the best to do. It's getting smoothed out to where we're actually working on stuff and less estimates, which calms it down. But then there's something going on at every point in time of the day. Like I feel like a juggler. I don't know.
Oh, what's up, Nikki? Well, you got
Nicky
two
Poo.
Nicks. Nick
Yeah.
Brang and Nick Stark.
Where's
What's
the
up,
beer?
Nick?
Sure, you got some.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get right to it. We got a good show tonight. This guy, I don't know. We'll see where he's working here in a little bit, but I know he's a hell chaser. Storms rolling. Look, Stephen. It's like that's what we were just talking about. I looked at the radar, and it's not like one big squall line that goes from the north to the south or south to north. It's like freaking individual little storms everywhere, and it's just going through crazy.
If it hails here again, I'm getting in my van and just driving. I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm off the grid. I'm going to get my cash stash and throw my phone in the trash, and I'm just off the grid.
I thought it would at least hail here one more time, but nothing yet. I'm still pretty confident we are going to have at least one hurricane because it's been 2 years since we've really had anything.
And
it was just kind of crazy. But
I think Amanda's ready to run away from hell too. I think we're both on the same page with that. To hell with hell.
I bet.
U-Haul Dapper U-Haul repair. That's where I'm at.
Dapper U-Haul. But if that's all it was, then that's slack off, and then you'd be twiddling your thumbs like I am.
I'll find something to do.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, all right, let's get to our guest. We got Mr. Kyle Bracken. Let me go ahead and pull him on here. What's up, brother?
What's going on?
Hey.
Long time no talk.
Yeah, it's been like 3.5 minutes.
I swear it feels like we've been on for almost an hour talking, but
we were close to it.
Yeah.
Kyle Poo.
I don't know how to run technology, so we had to try to get this thing hooked up early.
Running back and forth from the office to the shop, trying to get everything logged in.
And you're still slightly clicking when you're talking now. So whatever Andy did, didn't fix it totally.
Temporary fix.
Mm-hmm.
He had a JJ moment too. I'm back there. He's like, "Now I hear you." I'm like, "That's because I'm standing beside of you with my headset on. It's connected." It's like, come on, man.
Now you gave away where we're working, so
yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Ain't like any hell chasers are gonna be calling anytime soon.
You don't want this stuff.
Kyle's coming
bowling balls.
Kyle's coming to us all the way 10 feet to the left of Andy.
Back right there. He's right there.
He's right there.
Yeah.
Funny story about Kyle. One night we were doing the podcast. I can't remember who the guest was, and freaking Nick Stark like FaceTime me. I'm like, you serious? Like he knows, the show. I just see Kyle staring through my soul on the other end of the phone. I'm like, and I can't hear him. And Kyle and Nick's in there talking. I'm like kind of doing a podcast right now. That was hilarious.
Yeah, just a little bit. A little familiar.
Yeah, if I understand it, Andy used to do your podcast right about probably where I'm sitting.
Yep.
Probably right in the middle of the.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, I had room then.
We got 5 cars in here and a 3-door shop. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 3-door.
I had to fit
2 doors.
2-door shop. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, where you find that other door at? I'm trying to find it. I got more shit to park in there.
We carried the one sideways through the walk-in door.
Yeah, I had to park 4 in mine. I don't know, a month and a half ago or whatever. And I've got a lift in the middle of mine.
Yeah, the lift kind of messes you up.
Andy's shop he's got bigger doors than I do. They're taller doors, taller shop. Yeah, I do
You got
have
more doors.
I got 4 bay doors, but that last one we don't. It's
That's the gym.
I had to. Luckily, it was a '99 model Tahoe, lowered, so it was a little box, so I could wiggle it around and get it in front of my lift. Use the 2 bays over here, and then back one. It was a newer. I can't remember what it was, but the alarm it stopped at about 5-6 inches from hitting the Tahoe. Like it would not let me back up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm trying to get it a little bit further back so I make sure the bay door shut all the way. It worked. Anyway.
Yeah,
So
Kyle. I'll brag on him real quick. He's been a godsend. He's knocking them out for me and keeping one less thing off my plate anyway. Most days.
So you're saying
Most
it's the
days.
best? It's the best thing.
Not today. We don't want to talk about today.
We ain't gonna talk about that. Not that we ain't gonna worry about that little fella.
That old guy? I'm not worried about that old guy.
Oh yeah, the Kiko
Tom
training was
Yeager.
good. Oh yeah. See, I told you could see all the comments now, like we do. What up, Daniel?
Yeah.
Was our last guest?
Hey, there's your other employee.
Yeah. Yep. I'm about to trade with him.
Get to work,
my,
John. Quit
you,
commenting on
You're
here.
you're coming to my shop and I'm going to my body shop. Like
Yeah.
we're swapping. He would run it so much better too. Everybody be more calm and like John just brings calmness to the game.
I've only met him once, but I could see that.
So give us the quick background on how you got started into PDR.
Oh man. We only got an hour?
Yeah, we got about 30 minutes of this
30 minutes
backstory.
left?
So
okay. So the background of my working was pretty much all automotive related. Right after I was born, my father moved to Florida, bought a towing business that was contract with the police departments and started automotive repair and service from it. So as I learned how to walk, I was walking through the shop, holding light, always in the wrong spot, getting tools. But I spent the beginning of my life basically as a general service mechanic,
okay,
tow truck operator. I was going out on tow calls from as long as I can remember. 10 years old, I could sit there and jump in a big international wrecker. Couldn't sit on the seat and reach the pedals, but I could stand and turn the idle up and then just run the clutch. Still can't, but
just kind of lean back against the seat.
Yeah. But I could sit there and rearrange the whole parking lot with all the wrecked cars, because the ones that don't have insurance would go to the back, and you'd move the ones that were going to cycle through out in the front. And so that was lived my whole life planning on taking over my dad's shop, and came down to where he was going to be retiring soon, talking about taking it over, and he ended up having a stroke riding his motorcycle. So not the ideal place to have it. Find the positive part of any situation. He was a private pilot too, so it's a fantastic thing that it didn't happen in an airplane.
Yeah.
But we were talking about making that transition, and I ended up having to jump in and run the place solely without him for about a year while he was still trying to fight for a recovery. Just wasn't working out. He was too far gone, and it was a pretty wild situation. So basically lived my whole life looking forward to something that just dissolved, and thought it was really was just kind of lost, probably hit rock bottom right around there, and just trying to figure out what everything was going. But I said, there's got to be something else down the road. So got into PDR from dumb luck. I'm at SeaWorld with my wife. My birthday's in January, and I had followed a bunch of social media. So I followed A1 Tools. I tried to buy a starter set and teach myself, went nowhere. And got a Facebook post where they're over in Mobile Tech Expo showing the Dent Olympics. And I'm showing my wife, I'm like, there's a whole convention for dent guys. Like, they've got Dent Olympics going on. Like, do you see this? And she had no interest in going, but she'll support anything I say. So go to MT on the last day, and it's like a 21-year-old in the liquor store on their first 21st birthday. I'm just in awe. I'm fascinated. I'm looking at the tools. I'm looking at guys working on cars. And that was kind of how that just became to be, because I had looked into training and crunched some numbers on how to budget it and thought that it was pretty much unobtainable. Walking through MTE, I had a whole bunch of people, probably I think 6 or 7 people in a row, all referred me to Mike Seawald, and they said, well, he's here. So I had to go find him. I talked to him. And from that point out, it just felt like the stars aligned. You know, gateway training, this is the gateway to the future. I got really excited about it. I signed up for the next class that he had open, and the rest is just the journey.
He can tell you every second of his training too. We call him the Rain Man. Yeah, definitely dense. Yeah.
What year was that?
2018.
Okay.
There's the details. I started April 9th, graduated May 18th. I mean, I got a whole folder of photos and videos and stuff that we did going through training, all the dents that I was fixing. I got videos of Mike standing on a quick bench with 3 people holding the hood down. He's stomping on the thing, trying to, create dents with crowns, and definitely was an experience. But,
awesome, I've always heard nothing but great stuff about Mike's training, so
that's what I've heard too.
Mike is fantastic.
No dent wizard trainer.
Yep, got to do the doors inverted.
Yeah,
finally
got somebody in my shop that can push the same way I can.
Yeah. Other than right-handed, left-handed.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
We were trying to work on something together yesterday, and it was like, I'm in the right-handed position. He's in left-handed. He's like, I can't do this. I can't even see it. I'm like, well.
Yeah.
But that's.
He had my bad eye on the panel. That bad eye ain't gonna do shit. He was crossing, trying to look over to see what the other eye was doing. It's rough, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyle is mind blowing that he just started in 2018 because the stuff he's fixing is pretty phenomenal. And just got back from Advanced Skills Seminar.
Yeah.
How was that?
Awesome. Try to refrain from the F-bomb there. It was awesome. It was an amazing experience. Probably best investment I've done so far. Got to meet a bunch of awesome techs. Get a bunch of knowledge and advanced skills that we can apply down the road.
And he was teacher's pet. He drove Shane back and forth from the hotel and handed Bryce tools. He made Bryce about your glue gun.
He was trying to walk us through pushing up something on an edge where the bumper meets the quarter panel on a Corolla. I don't know if you've seen the dent that they had over there, but he's like, well, this tool isn't getting me where I want to be. Let me try this. This is all I've got that's got a hook back. Yeah, this thing's definitely not going to push up the metal. I knew exactly what he wanted. And first thing I do is I'm a tool junkie. I've watched a lot of the, I'm on every tool manufacturer's new products line weekly to see what's coming out. If something looks like it's going to make my life easier, I'm all about trying to buy it. So I've got a obnoxious pile of tools at home. I probably keep 10 techs busy.
Yeah.
And so I saw something on Corey's wall. Corey had a nice tool wall set up over in the corner, and I looked over everything. And, when I'm looking at someone else's tools, it's like, what do you have that I use? What do you have that I don't, that I might be able to make use of? What's a situation where I can use that? What do I have that I use all the time that you don't? So now I'm looking at what you do have and like, how does he get in that area if he doesn't have this tool? And so there was I think it was a motorcycle tool, but it was an ultra threaded and it curved all around. I got up right in the middle of the presentation, walked in front of everybody, grabbed this tool off the wall, go hand it to him. I'm like, I think this is what you're looking for. He's like, oh my God. It's like that's amazing. Got right where he wanted to be.
Yeah, definitely tools. Yeah.
2,339
tools. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Nick knows.
Yeah. And then tell him about the heat gun will crack me up even better.
Yeah. He was trying to keep sustained heat on this edge so he could get through the panel bond. I was like, well, I don't think we have anything to sit there and hold sustained heat on. I jumped up, I went to the back, I found a floor jack and duct taped the heat gun to the floor jack. He's like, yeah, man, that'll work for sure. Right to it. So
that was all. He told me that I was dying.
Yeah, I plan on training with him. Yeah, there's my wife over here now. So I guess you can comment on YouTube.
Yep.
I planned on training with him after last hail season, and I haven't been home to have a off season since last hail season. So hopefully we get done here at a respectable time this year. Andy's saying
February next year. Yeah. Get done at a respectable time next year, son.
We're gonna go straight from here to MTE.
Yeah, and then come back.
Oh no.
Well, on your way down to MTE, then you can swing by here and actually put your new found skills to your test.
Nick said no. Nick, you do not need help with your. If you could do one more hail car a week and do 2 a week, you're good, bud. He's trying to take Kyle, and they ain't got it. I'm like, what? Like, no, Kyle's mine right. Kyle said we're going to do a joint custody thing.
Yeah, they're going to have to do split custody every other week. I go to Wisconsin and then come back into Tennessee.
Well, you got enough tools. You can just keep some in each place. And then
Last year, I had a whole extra set in the truck that I didn't touch because last year I was working around St. Louis and I was hopping a lot of body shops. And so some days I'm in the retail shop. Some days I'm going to the body shops, and I didn't have 2 pack outs and things like that. And then they were entirely different sets of tools. So my theory was that I was just going to have to take my light and, just use the tools in my truck, and I'll have to break down all the time. But I ended up not doing that. So then I just drove around with an obnoxious amount of tools when I had to go places. But
and going to St. Louis, you may need that because half of them may get stolen. So
that's just East St. Louis.
Yeah. Most of it was pretty good. There was one body shop next to a bus stop, and I was made aware that everybody has a story when they're working at that body shop that something happens and goes down. I'm like, okay, make sure I'm carrying while I'm working.
Yeah.
Make sure we brought the big guns.
It wasn't in East St. Louis, was it?
Was not in East St. Louis, but it was over towards the city. I don't think it was that bad, but you could, all day long, people are doing burnouts from the stoplight and,
I've got a business street that they do that all day long on. So
yeah.
Menders.
What's up?
Yeah. I was a little worried I'm not going to get to keep Kyle. He couldn't find a place to stay down here at first. That was shambles. I was like, oh, God.
This was the most difficult storm that I've come to. First 2 weeks was just stress because I take the family with me. So I got a travel trailer last year and I said there's no amount of money worth not keeping the family together.
Yeah.
It's the unpopular thing amongst most hail guys. But I figure I'm more sustainable for the long haul doing it this way. And
100%
trying to get a RV place. There's all booked 3 months out. They've all got wait lists. And so I'm like, okay, we're just going to have to store the RV and, get an Airbnb. So the first Airbnb that we booked comes up, getting a response from the host saying, oh, I'm sorry, this is rented to a tenant full time now, and I should have taken the listing down. There was really no other options. So here's the fun part. The next thing that we see is like $10,300 on Airbnb. It's also listed on VRBO and Booking.com. Now, Booking.com has 15 configurations of how to different prices with different booking options. So we get it for like half of that. It was gonna be like $5,300 for a month, and I'm like, it is what it is for a month. It's more comfortable than a hotel. It was this nice little cabin out in the woods. Book it, get a confirmation number. So I drive into Nashville. I was already in the RV, so it was like a 5-hour drive to relocate here. Park it at Andy's shop, empty the fridge and freezer, get all my groceries out, empty all the closets, get all my clothes out. I'm going to this Airbnb, which is 30 minutes away, and no cars in the driveway. looks like I would be there to check in, and I'm punching in the door code, or I had a confirmation PIN code. So confirmation number and a PIN code, 4-digit PIN code. It's not working the door. And I'm trying like the master button before and after, thinking, this is strange. So I'm calling the host. They're not answering. There was no cars on the driveway. I'm got a confirmation I'm renting this place. So I go around the back. I'm looking in like the sliding glass door windows. I'm like scoping the place out. Finally just start repetitively calling the host to find out they sold it a year ago. The listings should have been removed, yet we're on 3 different websites. And I could have got shot in someone's backyard creeping around the house. And I'm like, now it's like, well, now I'm here and I got nowhere to stay. And I ended up getting into the Montgomery Bell State Park for a week until we got it figured out. And then they were building a huge gas plant, Cumberland City, I think. So there's a campground that's all long-term construction workers.
Yeah.
These guys have been there a year. They got 2 more years booked. And one of them had a fallen out. He was booked 2 years out, but then he ended up leaving suddenly. And
thank you, Jesus.
I showed up, and I'm like, you guys show a listing. At this point, like, I need to see it, look at it, and talk to somebody.
Make sure it's actually here.
So they're like, well, the guy's moving out tomorrow, so it will be available tomorrow if we can get him out. Situation was, 2 buddies were supposed to go in on this work project together. One of them owned the RV. The other one was staying in the RV. The one that was staying in the RV is the one that got work, and the one who owned the RV couldn't find work. So I guess he couldn't find work and went home. So the guy was staying in there rent free, and the guy's like, I'm coming, like, I need my RV back. I guess he didn't come to get it. They had to find someone to remove it from the campground. Gotcha. Trying to find a towing company to move a 5th-wheel travel trailer. It's like, you can't call a tow truck for that. So
but he's here now.
Almost. Yeah, they almost didn't get it out. I was almost back to square one, but I got in there. I'm parked. It's comfortable. I got a good neighbor next door, and I'm booked through December.
Yep.
So,
all right, Andy, if I come over there and work, where am I staying?
You gonna stay with Kyle?
Yeah, I got a bunk room with 4 beds and just 1 kid. So,
oh goodness.
She only kicks the top bunk for like an hour before she goes to bed. So,
if we had outdoor plugs and stuff, I wouldn't mind putting him back here. But there ain't nothing to plug up to at the shop outside. So
yeah,
I don't know how that would
run
work.
run it inside.
Yeah.
All it needs
as a side note, I didn't realize if my wife could comment off of the YouTube or not. But this is my wife's got it on YouTube.
All right.
And the TV in the RV, and my kid's over here watching me. So
there's Daddy.
Now I'm famous. Now I'm like one of you famous MTE people, podcasting YouTube guys.
So when he gets older, he'll be like, "Weren't you on a TV show one time, Dad?"
Yeah,
Layla.
I was on TV.
Sorry.
Bert and Ernie.
Yeah,
that's what Kyle asked me the day. He's like, "Which one was you,
Bert or Ernie?"
Tell him we're retired. Brandon gave up, so we're retired now.
Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. We got a lot of fun. Speaking of MTE, we'll have a lot more DBAP swag and flags and hats, and I'm coming up. They want a new logo, so we're going to do a new logo for this year.
We're going to do a new one every year.
And I still got a good bit of shirts left from last year, so we'll sell them at a discounted price.
I gotta get Kyle on PDR apparel. He wears that shirt every day, I think. I sent him an advanced skill seminar in that shirt. I was like, man, we gotta get you some shirts.
I just ordered 2 of the Ginger Bros 25 banners. I'll send you one when they come in. But heck yeah.
JJ will just use it to block something off to buff. He used I had when I was in the BNI group, a guy made me a banner. It said a metal manipulator. It's me and stuff. And went over on the other side of the truck yesterday, and it's laying on a running board where JJ's using it to buff as a block. I'm like, you son of a bitch. This JJ, man. I don't know what to do with him.
Is JJ watching?
No, I don't know. If he is,
I don't
you
think
son
so.
of a bitch.
Son of a bitch, give me a drink.
He came back from U-Haul today. He said, "Hey, Andy, we're back." Yep, kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
That's what he told you the other day too.
That's what I was saying. It was the other day.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, you seen your van, didn't you?" I was like, "No, I seen you telling me that you're back."
Oh, poor boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Trying to talk to you to room to block out the awkward silence.
Yeah.
Silence would be less awkward sometimes.
Yeah,
Oh,
poor
man.
boy. No, poor me.
He's a really good dude.
He is. Shows up every day to
Asking
drive
some
me insane.
interesting questions.
I told him Kyle liked guns. That's all I had to do. I got to walk
Yeah.
away 2 hours.
Threw me under the bus on that. He's like, Kyle likes guns, and his eyes popped up. That was it. He was attached to my hip for the rest of the day.
Yeah, he was. I was over fixing this, smiling.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
how many storms have you been, or how many years have you been chasing hail since you got out of training, or what'd you do when you got out of the training?
So out of training, I didn't even work. I came out of training. I probably pushed one dent, and then had a month before I could find work again. I still probably couldn't go into a dealer, land a wholesale. Like I just I'm not on the same page with, dealers. I kind of found out what they want to pay in my market, and I was so slow in the beginning. I'm like, I'll go back to my last job. There's no way I can make money
Yeah.
at what they're offering. And then the one dealer that I knew needed someone because a company that we won't name that looks like Harry Potter apparently was there for a long time and never showed up. So
it's called Dent Wizard.
then that, yeah,
Easy killer. It was to train you, kind of.
they did. And in a small, I mean, I don't know enough about Dent Wizard to be upset about them or what they've done in their corporate level or whatnot. The guy that was actually in my area is the guy that trained Mike Seawald. Shows you how old he was.
Yeah.
And he retired
Wizards
like right after I got out of
easily.
trade.
Boy, they
Wizards
are. They are
disappear.
disappearing like crazy right now.
Yep.
I got a text from another guy today, like, I'm about to put my 2 weeks notice in.
And yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I tried to go
on,
and
Nate.
get this account knowing that I talked to another manager about that work there. He's like, they never show up. Like, we'll call them all the time. They never show up. We are desperate need of a dent guy. So then when I go there and I'm talking to the manager, he's like, oh yeah, they come all the time. They're great. They take care of all of our cars. I'm like, really? Because every car that's used, every one of them has dents on it. Like here's a list of like 30 cars that are 2 years or less on your lot. I even write cars that were 3 years or older.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, if you could come in at this, which was half price of what they were paying, he's like, I'd love to give you work. I'm like, there's no way I can work for that. Like, there's not even a chance. It's not even worth trying to practice.
Yeah.
And so I picked it up, set it down, and had a really rough first year.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Probably pushed the collective amount of like maybe 10 dents in the first year.
Rob calling somebody old like they must be old.
Yeah.
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 And,
Rob was on the Mayflower too.
Yeah.
On the Mayflower.
That means Mike was on a Brontosaurus.
Yeah. Mike's still training. I mean, Mike's still got a great class going on. Every time I get the opportunity to go see a class that he's teaching, I jump in there and try and talk to students and motivate them. Some of them it's more useful than others, but he's made a lot of really great techs. But so the first year didn't go so well with finding work. The second year is where I started finally pushing every day and just kind of shadowed a local guy that did wholesale that, wasn't interested in hiring. I'm like, you don't even have to pay me. I just need to get some experience. Kind of shadowed him for a few brief months and he lost accounts that he had for 18 years over some management changes that happened suddenly. I'm like, you know what? This isn't where I want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 2 days a week for the last 18 years, and it just flopped on him. So I kind of went back to where I was running the tow truck for the police departments. There was a local body shop in town that was on that police rotation.
Mm-hmm.
So I drove the tow truck at night, sat at the body shop all day long, and picked up stuff out of their trash pile and pushed on it all day. I said, I don't anticipate fixing any of this stuff, but I should be able to learn something by attempting at moving it. And they would, throw me whatever they could that I was capable of doing. So that's basically where I worked for about the second year. And towards the end of my second year, I got hooked up with the guy that does vehicle graphics and wraps for businesses. And they got Titan from that Nissan dealership that I tried getting. And they're like, yeah, they said this one's impossible. And I've definitely seen PDR done before on a lot worse than this. And it was just a really wavy, pretty sharp crease going through the bedside. I said, yeah, I don't know why that's not possible. Probably spent 3 hours working on this dent, but took it until it was glass. And he's like, that's better than anything that I've seen from anybody else. When are we wrapping your truck? And I'm like, I don't want to drive a billboard around. I said, that's not me. And he started giving me a bunch of work. He was calling me down there a couple times a week. And one day he sends me a digital demo of what my vehicle would look like with graphics on it. I'm like, absolutely. When can we do this? He's like, I can do it Thursday. I'm like, I got something on Thursday. How about Wednesday? Thursday is my only job this week, so let's not do it Thursday. And that made it just blow up and take off. So, I've still have yet to ever spend $1 on marketing or advertising or AdWords or anything like that. I basically had a black Chevy Tahoe. The business is Suncoast Dent Removal. It was a sunset logo over it, and it just said Suncoast Dent Removal on the side and Paintless Dent Repair on the back with the phone number.
Yeah.
And it was just a really sharp looking graphic that was on it. And wherever I would drive, it would catch attention. And I'm in Southwest Florida. There's a lot of older retired people who've never seen it, never heard of it. I've had people that I'm on the end of their street and I'm like, oh yeah, they call me. I'm like, so how'd you hear about me? They're like, I don't know. Something made me Google paintless dent repair. And I'm like, then the dog comes out. I'm like, yeah, I definitely saw you walking the dog earlier. I'm like, yo, did you see my truck? I was down at the end of your street. They're like, no, I don't remember your truck, but something made me Google paintless dent repair because I've never heard of it. And I'm like, yeah, gotcha.
Probably, yeah.
So wherever I drove is where the phone would ring from. And I basically started working 20 miles in any direction of my house and could figure out that like south of me can be great. And then it can be people who just don't want to spend money.
Yeah.
And then in my direct area, it's even more hit or miss with more emphasis on people that don't want to spend money. And I'm not going to give it away, but so I found one area that I just thrived in. I did really well every time I went there. And the customer base was great. The damage was a whole lot easier, realistic damage. And so there was a body shop that saw me and called me up and said, hey, I saw you driving around the other day. We got one we could probably use you on. I go over, fix it for them, and they're like, why is it not bumpy? I'm like, what it's supposed to look like. Like, man, that's awesome. We'll be sending you work. Do you have some cards? And I give them a pile of cards.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting several phone calls a day from them.
He is. His
every
phone's
time I
always
go in
ringing.
there. Yeah. And I only answer some of them. I pretty much don't even answer them, but I will call them back if they leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
And so I was going in there weekly, just giving them all my cards. And so they really blew up a focused area. So it was, I'd go 20 miles from home, but I never went more than 5 miles between jobs. And that was like my honey hole. And I was doing really well. And Hurricane Ian happened 2022. Yeah. That body shop literally leveled to the ground. The roof was on top of cars. Everything supporting it was crumbled. that area was devastated. Now I'm getting 80 phone calls a day from the people who drive through pop-up tents with their insurance adjusters that wrote them a $3,000 check for something that's a full-on overall paint job, replacement quarter panels. I mean, half these things are totaled, and then if they're not totaled, everything had paint damage. And I'm like, I want nothing to do with any of this. I'd never dealt with insurance, but I told everybody who I'd talked to that I'd love to repair your vehicle. I'm going to have to go through your insurance on this. Well, I already got a check. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I'm going to take that and more. I'm going to have to file a supplement because they surely did not give you enough to fix your vehicle properly. Well, I just want a cash price. I'm like, I'm not doing a cash price. It's not even an option right now. I didn't have a single person interested in letting me bill through their insurance. And I had just gotten a retail shop at this point in time. Didn't actually put signage up front. It was not in my honey hole location. It was really close to my house. And it was definitely not ideal location. I got a great guy with a machine shop next to me, but he's got 3 60-gallon air compressors that sit out the front door on a pallet that run all day long. I'm talking all day long. And so if anybody tries to drive up and I'm, trying to write them a quote,
can't hear anything.
It's just, it's pretty annoying. But I got into it. I mean, you can't find places for lease. I was working on a dent for a guy next door to me. This guy imported right-hand drive Supras from around the world. And I was over there all the time fixing Supras that he was doing restorations on. So they were handing over the keys, and I got it before it went on market, and it was cheap enough that even if I don't use it, I have a bunch of toy race cars that I could easily fill that shop with. So that's basically what it's been for 3 years.
Well, let's get into that. I'm going to cut you off while you take a breath. We got to get into the other half of your life, not just dents anymore.
The other half of my life.
Yeah. Your lovely wife, your daughter. We got to talk about them. And
my lovely wife that supports anything and everything, the wild and crazy ideas that I have. I can't thank her enough because I definitely wouldn't be here if I didn't have that level of support. So, yep, exactly, Nick. Dents is life.
That's what we usually talk most about, but we try to get some personal life out of people.
Yeah, we were kind of late having kids. So my daughter's 18 months right now. I'm 36. So we had her 35, somewhere around there, 34, 35. Wasn't the easiest thing. We had to see a fertility specialist, and there was a point in time that we didn't think it was going to happen. So, I ended up just kind of utilizing my mobile services with PDR as a sense of freedom. And I dove heavily into what they call HPDE, is high performance driving education. And this is basically, you've got any car that is safe enough to put on a road course track. My home track is Sebring International Raceway, where they do 12-hour, 24-hour endurance races. I've probably been on that track 15,000 miles at this point. And when I worked for my father, he specialized in Corvettes. We had 4 or 5 guys that were retired, and they were these volunteer driving instructors. And they go out to Sebring and they coach people how to drive around, and instructors can take people for ride-alongs. I'm like, this is awesome. I want to do this. And goal was to have a Corvette for a long time. And I went out with this guy. I've rode with all of them, and most of them are the typical old man that's driving like 80, 70, 80% of what the car really can do. And then I had one guy that was just balls to the wall, absolutely wild. We come to turn 17, 145, the ass end hangs out. And I'm just like, hell yeah, this is what I needed. And surprisingly, he shows up, he runs up on a pack of spec Miatas that are outperforming him at the corners. The race suspension on slicks. I buy a Miata like 2 weeks later. And I said, I'm going to get into this. And that car ended up being the most unreliable thing I've ever owned. And so it took a couple of years before I got into it. But once I started getting the ball rolling with PDR and I was making some decent money, I had the goal. I wanted to be an instructor within a year of my first track day. And people like, we got guys that have been doing this for 10 years and still don't have enough track days to be an instructor. Rule of thumb was they want you to have around 50 track days. I'm like, well, tell me what's needed and I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And so I was out 3 weekends a month at different courses, never went to the same course twice. So thus far, I've done 10 tracks in 6 states with 4 different cars that I've had. And we're about to make it 11 tracks in 7 states because I'm going to the National Corvette Museum this weekend.
Nice.
I hate fixing dents on Miatas too. Oh, it's terrible. I go to, if I'm sure some of us are familiar, Tail of the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Runs North Carolina, Tennessee
Mhm.
border. One of the country, if not the country's biggest Miata event is there every year in August. And the last couple of years I've been doing PDR there, and it sucks. Those are the worst cars to work on.
Miata guy's the worst.
Miata guy's the worst. The cars are the worst.
Nick's been texting me. He's like,
And-
"You need a 6-hour show for Kyle." I was like,
So let me
This
let
is
me
part
ask
1 of 4.
let me ask this before we get too much further. How long have y'all been married?
6 years.
Hey, you're the first one who knew it like
Own it.
that.
Man,
Everybody else
yeah.
is like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna get in trouble."
he's got all that in his brain somewhere. Like, I don't know how he does
Awesome.
it.
We got married the same year I did training, so that kind of falls along with me doing
Yeah.
PDR. So it's been 6 years since I did training. We got married a few months after I went through training. So that's easier for me to tell you than what my exact age was when my daughter was born. Yeah.
Mine's easy because I got married in 2000. So
There you go.
whatever year it is,
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
We got
October
married
that year.
August. I caught Andy when he was really tired and confused, and my anniversary is August 1st of 18. He was thinking he was August 8th of 18. He's like, no, it's 15. And it was some other day. But when we were talking about it, we thought we had the numbers like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out they're a little bit different.
Yeah. He's
but
like, I need that week off for my anniversary. I was like, me too. So,
perfect. We're shutting her down.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
We're gonna
Jaeger's
back
gonna
and
come. Jaeger's gonna come hold it down for us. So,
Y'all need
I
to
thought
go.
he said he was gonna come help me fix these Miatas.
yeah, right.
Really looking forward to. If anybody wants to come help me do PDR on Miatas, you can have 100% of whatever you sell because I don't even want to put pins there.
Well, Jaeger's good at it because he doesn't even have to sit down on the ground. He can
Yeah.
stand up next to the tire and still push.
Oh, Kyle's smaller.
I got him.
Are
in
you
that
smaller?
department.
Holy crap!
That's
That-
that
there you
spider
go.
monkey in the roof yesterday.
Oh my
I've
gosh.
got 1 foot in the hinges of the F-250 mirror, and my other foot's on the seat because from
Yeah.
the quit bench at 14 inches of full extension, I still couldn't touch the middle of that roof.
Keep asking. You
Even-
need Daddy to get that for you.
Yeah.
Daddy need to get up there and handle that for
Like
you.
I'm gonna get up there, I'm gonna get it. Took my shoes off, climbed up the mirror, and put my foot on the seat and sat on the mirror, and I got it.
Lord.
Cindy said you're the best.
The only time I
It's-
put the bench up as tall as it can is when I want to reach all the way across the roof of the truck.
That-
On a
that's where
jacked-up
my
truck. On a
that's the
jacked-up
only
truck.
setting mine has. You can look at the legs as they come down. 14, 12, 10 are wallowed out and like
Yeah.
down, not even used.
We're gonna have to get him
Oh,
scaffolding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially
that's
here
awesome.
because like 90% of it's gonna be trucks and 90% of those are gonna be lifted. And there's
Every truck here is a farm truck, and
Need a-
if it's
need a
not
scissor
lifted, it's
lift.
just stupid tall to begin with.
yeah.
I've heard all the short jokes for John Yeager. So coming here, I was anticipating. I'm like, yeah, either you're going to be disappointed or impressed that I'm taking that title.
Yeah.
That's what John, as soon as he came in the shop the other day, he's like, Andy.
He's like, we gotta size up. Who's taller? I'm like, it's not even questionable. You got me. Now I will say there is probably 4 guys at the advanced skills seminar that were right at my height. So I'm not alone in this
Really?
world.
Huh.
One of them was
Fuck,
PDR
man.
Mexico, right? Y'all, he's pretty short.
Well, he's not even one that I had in mind.
I gotta
he's
look
probably
this guy
got
up.
Dude,
PDR Mexico.
Yeah.
he's all over TikTok. That's where I was watching a bunch of his stuff through TikTok and then actually met him in person at MTE last year, maybe.
Pablo. Is it
Yeah, Pablo.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, I've seen him before.
That's like, I mean, most people like Nick Priest. He's been collision technique forever. That's how I made him. That's how you're going to be from now on.
Yeah.
Stefan.
Yeah, we had workshop day, so they put 5 doors on different wooden stands, and everybody got a different dent. We got an infinity door that they smacked the front edge of a front door, up by the hinges, all that double metal.
Yeah.
Smacked that with the sledgehammer really good, and so it was me, Danny Espinal, PDR Mexico, and 4 or 5 other people that were in this group. And it was definitely it was an awesome event. That was an interesting task, was to fix these things, because we're all in Corey's shop and you got 5 teams of people trying to split up Corey's tools. And so there was just an absolute shortage of well, this is what I want. We can't get it.
Yeah.
Barely had enough knockdowns and blending hammers. If you see it going around, there was a whole bunch of people. Pablo, PDR Mexico, was blending this door to get a crown down, and then I'm working a different area of the same dent. So we're right side by side. I'm sitting here hammering and tapping down. He's blending out, so we're both, it was god awful loud, and a whole bunch of people showed up and started taking videos. So looking forward to seeing that pop up somewhere.
I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Yeah.
I told Kyle, I was like, go ahead and name drop me if you need to,
Yeah. I said, yeah, we name dropped Andy and we name dropped Nick, and then we saw who had more friends. So. It's on the phone with Nick. I'm like, yeah, I went over to some guy. I was like, yeah, I know Nick Stark. He's like, yeah, that guy's a dick. So he's like, what was his name? I'm like, I don't know. He's in my phone. It doesn't like Nick Stark, but I'm just teasing him. I love teasing Nick.
He does all day.
Nick's a great guy, and I have, I guess, a special permission to get on his nerves.
That's what he said when he met Kyle. Like, he was in there stressed out, and Kyle came in there and started asking a bunch of questions, and he's like, Kyle, not right now. And Kyle will. He's a question asking machine, but at least they're all questions that are warranted. And
yeah.
Yeah, I will try to justify that, because the first day at the seminar, I asked a handful of questions. And then the next day, there was this new group of people that came over, and they're like, dude, you asked really good questions yesterday. I'm like, oh, I appreciate that. At least I wasn't asking a bunch of dumb questions.
Yeah.
You definitely make me think when you're asking. I'm like, God, I got to actually think about this.
Yeah. I overthink.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And I interrupt really well, too. So, but I overthink the process of moving metal. I mean, there was something that I was taught, the way I was taught from Mike Seawald, is there's lectures, and then there's theories and procedures. And I didn't come out doing anything that we trained on. So I had to try to combine all of these theories and processes to troubleshoot my way through all these big dents that I've done, because I've done some really wildly large damage that a lot of techs would never want to do. I wouldn't want to do it again. But it was things that I just wanted to park on all day and learn something from it. And if I fixed it, great. And if not, then it's at a body shop anyway. And so we had Marty Runick, and that was a huge reason why I wanted to go, because I've seen a bunch of Marty's YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I'll say, if you got 2 people who are really unique in their tooling and their methods on how they move metal, it'd be Marty Runick and Sal Contreras. So Marty went through his whole method and theory on how he moves metal, which is exact opposite of what I was taught. But it's immediately was something that I've experienced a lot of times. The way that he talks about, certain direction of pressure in the metal, and the fact that you have to attack that first. I'm like, this is so many of the big dents that I've done. I've had that experience. So he talked you how to take that down in his way. And then I'd ask Bryce what he thinks about it. He's like, I don't know. I push wherever I see it pushing.
I'm like Bryce. Is every big dent's different, and you can think all these theories and everything, but it's not gonna be the same on every one. So it's do what you think and keep going, without trying to create a lot more damage. But I always create more damage first.
Yeah.
And then
make it look worse and look better.
Yeah. Sometimes
I think that's standard when you're getting into big dents. It's going to get ugly before it gets pretty.
Absolutely. I think even Don Cavanaugh, I've heard him say that many a times.
So that BMW door I just did last week, I finally got all the metal straight and everything. Well, the door was pushed in on the bottom corner down here and pulled out at the top corner up here when it was hit. Got all the metal straight, put it back on the vehicle. Still doing
The
that.
door's still
I'm
lopsided.
like, son of a gun. So I got looking at it and took it back off real quick. And the hinge on that bottom had been kind of, I mean, it was literally a 1/16 of an inch was creating a gap over a quarter inch, 3/8 of an inch on both. And so I got that hinge back lined out like that, put it back on there. It moved it, took it back off, did a little bit more. Boom. Like nothing ever happened. I was like, yeah.
Can you adjust it on the door side?
Yeah.
I had that same.
So it was the door hinge itself. It wasn't the hinge on the pillar there. It had just slightly pancaked it. And
I bought a excursion after my first hailstorm, so we got a little sidetracked off that. But 2022, after Hurricane Ian, was when I kind of got my feet wet chasing hail. My wife was pregnant at the time, and that was the only time that I left her because she had doctor's appointments every week. And I was like, well, this is gonna be the trial and error to see if this is where I want to pivot the business or not.
Yeah.
And went out there and experienced it and got on a really beat storm up in Okonomowoke, Wisconsin, I think it was. Ended up working right next door to that guy, Nick Stark. I just wasn't working for Nick Stark. But
can't
that was
pronounce that place either.
Yeah. Someone at the seminar said, "Where's Nick from?" I said, "Oconomowoc." He's like, "I love hearing that." I remember who asked me that. He's like, it's so fun to hear that. But,
I would just make up something totally different every time somebody asks.
Yeah.
Just sound like some sort of Indian.
Storm. And then pushed all last year, and so this is my third year pushing hail.
Awesome. We didn't get to talk about your love of Tater Shack. I shut him down. Was it last Friday? I got Tater Shack and shut the whole shop down.
Oh,
it's good, isn't it?
If you want to break, like mentally, physically, emotionally, go get you some Tater Shack.
Yeah.
He's ruined potatoes for me to the point that like those little square McDonald's style hash browns you get from Walmart. My wife was making some of those. I'm like, I just want one. Normally, I'm like, give me 2 or 3. I can't even look at potatoes the same way now. Apparently I felt that there was a need to finish the whole thing in one sitting at like midday at work, and I was dead. And then Ray was like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "I'm in so much pain right now." And then like he was doing something. Then I guess Andy told him that I finished the whole thing. He comes over and his eyes were open. He's like, "You ate the whole potato?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Did
why
you
it's so
drink
bad
the
right
butter
now."
too?
I drank the butter too. You gotta do shots of butter at the end.
When he got it, he's like, "It's pretty good. It didn't have enough butter though." And he's real dry. Like it's hard to read him sometimes. He'll say that straight face. We're like, "Oh wait, he's joking."
That first time I had it, I was like, "Good grief!" With the butter on the whole bottom was just that much butter. I was like, "Holy!"
I think I asked if I could get some extra butter when I started digging into it.
He was wondering why I was putting trash bags down on the table up front. I'm like, "Oh, you just wait, bud."
Yeah.
But
you definitely have to come back down to Andy's Toy Drive to the tech meetup at least.
He'll still be here.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to be here. So that's the end of November.
Yeah, it's like the weekend before,
like mid-November.
Usually weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like that 17th, 16th is kind of what it's been.
Yeah, Nick says cheese curds over Tater Shack, and that is the truth.
Cheese curds are good.
Yeah. I've had every type of cheese curd you can imagine. I went to the Wisconsin State Fair. My whole mission was to eat as many different styles of cheese curds. So
is that Dale Jr.?
It does kind of.
I didn't even. We never thought about it. Jeff,
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. You look like.
I get Rob Deerdeck a lot if I'm wearing a hat.
I could see that.
I could see that.
I've had people come up and ask me for autographs. I'm like, I couldn't skateboard to save my life. They're like, you're lying.
Back in the day when we'd go to
Sydney, you're gonna get some Tater Shack and we're gonna change your mind.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to share one. I had bought steaks and mashed potatoes to have after like Saturday, because this was Father's Day weekend. So Sunday we were going to be doing steaks, and she's like, "Why aren't you cooking mashed potatoes?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to think about a mashed potato. I don't want to look at a potato right now."
Then Jeff hooked him up this morning with donuts. That's what Jeff's talking about. Like,
yeah.
Jeff texted me this morning, like, "Where you at?" I was like, "I gotta go to Nashville." He's like, "I'm at your shop with donuts." I'm like, "You should have called." He's like, "Well, then I was going to surprise you with donuts." And then, so me and Kyle wore them donuts out today. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.
Came in clutch.
Drop the hammer on the donuts.
You bring me some donuts. Goodness.
Good luck. That's a little bit far of a drive. They won't be that delicious by the time they get there. I can promise you that.
Do y'all have Krispy Kreme up there?
Yeah.
In Dixon?
Not in Dixon.
No.
We do Dixon Donuts.
So the main one right down the road here, dude. The last year or whatever, the last few times that we've gotten them there, usually just a dozen plain donuts fill the box up. Now, there's fucking room I'm sorry, there's room everywhere.
Cussing on your own podcast.
It doesn't even have holes in the middle. Like the kids that are working in this place now have just ruined Krispy Kreme. Sorry, I get on.
He had his Krispy Kreme ran out.
Man, I can't.
You and Krispy Kreme is like Nick Stark and Body Shops.
I was about to say we're all fake. Just fix your dinner night. I don't care.
Oh yeah, or Allstate. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Nick and Allstate there.
Man, I love it when he's dealing with Allstate. Justin calls me. That's the best phone call of my life. I enjoy it. Like, my life's not so bad. That's what I say when I get off phone with him with Allstate.
Yeah, my favorite part of the beginning of this year pushing in Wisconsin, if it wasn't the cheese curds, it was Nick with the insurance adjusters.
He loves them.
Fight them.
So who's been y'all's worst insurance this year on these claims?
Snake Farm.
Really?
Just takes forever.
What about them?
They've literally cut 2 of our estimates in half. They're doing virtuals now.
Yeah.
They've cut them in half.
Like actual virtual, like with the shop
with the customer.
You do know
with the customer. And it's like we only going to pay you for what we can see in your pictures. Like, I don't know if that's it or not. Like I said, we've had 2 that are cut in half. It's taking at least 12 days to hear anything from them.
Yeah,
like
that's
insane.
one of the biggest. So this collision, actually the BMW one, somebody hit that guy, and it's Liberty Mutual was their insurance that's paying for it. That has been the biggest crock of shit company that I have tried to deal with. I got what I needed, but I did give the customer what's the name, Billy
Wozniak.
Wozniak or whatever.
We gave out his information a couple
Collision
times.
Safety Consultants.
Yeah,
I gave him that. Totals. He's contacting him. He's actually suing Liberty Mutual right now.
Nice.
Yes.
Daniel, I'm at 30% at my body shops. That's what I'm giving them. It's kind of grandfathered in. That's what it's been here forever. So it's kind of hard to come down once it's already that precedence is set. So
I'm at 0% on
Nick. Who do you like?
Progressive. He likes Tom.
Okay.
Progressive Tom, though, not even Progressive. He doesn't like Progressive, but he likes Tom.
That's like me with Geico. Connor is like, yeah, just write it and I'll match it. I'm like, you are a unicorn, sir.
Yeah, you get the right local adjuster and it makes things so much easier.
Absolutely.
But usually they won't last that long if they're writing giving you what you want.
I don't even know what that is. Acuity.
I don't know if it's acuity is the thing or if he's trying to say actually. I don't know.
He's had the beers with his cheese
Where's
curds.
the beer?
Yeah, our adjuster, like, I think it's grown trust. Like, he's had years with Ray at the body shop growing trust, and then came over here, looked at a couple of them, knows we're not trying to rake them over the coals. We just need want what we need. That helps a lot. But it's the ones that don't have adjusters out in the field. It's like, you're telling me from a computer that this is how much I should charge? Like, you don't even come look at it. That's the worst ones.
No, Nick, Alpha Insurance is the best.
Farm Bureau. Hands down.
Alpha
Well,
beats
Geico
Farm
too.
Bureau down here. I
I
turn
don't-
it in within less than 24 hours. It's approved.
That's Farm Bureau here.
Total.
Yeah,
Farm
that's
Bureau
a-
is pretty good down here too, though. But
yeah, that's
uh,
we get an open shop assignment from Farm Bureau, and I could pretty much write it and start working on it if I want. Like it's good to go.
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Well, man, we've made an hour, so
we made an hour. Even though none of us wanted
we
to be
barely-
on this 2 hours
we-
ago.
Yeah. We barely broke the surface though.
yeah, I know. We'll have to do a.
Record part 2 now or do that tomorrow.
We'll record part 2 next year. This time.
Next year.
Yeah, when you're still
Sounds
here.
good.
Oh,
We
man.
haven't all had a heart attack. all
Dang,
the
Tad, you're
stress.
about an hour late. I guess
Hi,
Gunsmoke just
Tad.
went off. Or Little House on the Prairie. I don't know. Whichever one. It's a new episode for him, so he had to watch
Oh goodness.
it. But it's been fun. I knew it'd be a good one. Like I said, I told Brandon, like, Kyle will be an easy one. We can ask a couple questions and he will handle the rest. So you did not disappoint there.
Definitely. No one-word answers tonight.
Nick was
No.
like, "You're never gonna get him off the subject," and texted me. I'm like, "Watch this." I was like, "Hey, speaking of that, let's talk about your family."
No, it was great. It was
Yeah.
great. I'm glad you came on here. So I know it's a long
Absolutely.
drive back tonight, but
He still got work.
I've got the
I know.
worst drive back.
He does.
To get from here to Aaron is
2-lane
like
here.
like if you've been to the Dragon, it's like going from the Dragon to Robbinsville,
oh yeah.
where you're just I mean, I put myself to sleep doing that now for some reason, and probably because it's driving my boring truck. I've got my Miata up here, but we're actually getting turbo kit installed on it from one of the guys that manufactures the turbo kits. It's only like an hour away, so I
Nice.
flew home to get the car up here to have that installed. So I've got something new and exciting for when we go to do our Miata event this year. But
So
sticking
since
it out for the long haul.
since you're the only person we've ever had on here or that I know of that knows of Robbinsville, North Carolina. So before I ever got into this,
Yeah, she's been wanting to turbo that car since we bought it, and I've been
That's
resisting.
awesome.
Like, I'm gonna leave it stock. It's far from stock right now. So
Shut up, Nick. We're
the,
already fighting over him. We don't need to give him to more people.
before I ever got into this, I traveled managing disaster work for 8 years or so.
mhm.
And I worked for Phillips and Jordan, who is based out of Robbinsville, North Carolina. So I have a lot of
Nice.
friends that are out of that from that business that still live in Robbinsville. Hail far!
I almost bought property there. COVID, all
Dude,
these
Beautiful
vacation
property
rentals went up for cheap, and the drawback was that nobody wanted to deal with me from being out of state. They're like, you basically got to just sign it over paperwork, sight unseen. I'm like, I want to see it and touch it and walk through it. But like, I was down between 2 or 3 properties. One of them I still remember, it was 437 Deals Gap Road. So when you're at the Deals Gap Motorcycle Resort,
there.
if you take 28 towards Fontana, like right where all those dumpsters are, there's a driveway that goes up the hill, and it was in that neighborhood up there.
Oh, nice.
So I could have lived right up behind the motorcycle resort, or had a vacation house.
I know a realtor there if you're looking again.
Look at y'all.
Yeah, definitely. That's been talked about more and more detail as the years go by to get a second place to go to.
Yeah.
Something that would be
Trying to
ideal, something big enough to put the camper at, so I don't have to keep dragging it back and forth to Florida every time I want to leave for something.
Yeah.
Keep trying to get him moved to Dixon. We're working on that still. Like, you can have all this.
Yeah. He wants me to move to Dixon. Nick wants me to go to Wisconsin. So
Well,
I'm
there's
entertaining all offers.
depends on if you like really cold or cold every once in a while, or stay down where it's blazing hot.
I can't stand the heat. I've been in Florida my whole life. I went up to Wisconsin in February, and there was a day we got like 6 inches of snow. I get there before Nick just to get inside, grab a snow shovel. I'm just shoveling in circles in the parking lot. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I've never done this before. Leave me alone. Never even seen this stuff before." And it was an awesome experience. My daughter was right at like 13 months, 14 months. And she's knee deep in the snow, just pacing back and forth, running laps around the Airbnbs.
Yeah.
If you ever want to get a really good deal on the lake house Airbnbs, when the lake's frozen, they're cheap. I had a 6-bedroom, 3-story lake house for like nothing because it was out of season. So
Goodness.
I had a really awesome 3 months up there, Wisconsin. Got this experience snow, got this, see winter at the tail end of it, the tolerable side of it.
Yeah.
Today it's snowing, tomorrow we're golfing, next week it might be snowed again, but we're still golfing the day after the snow. And then got to catch the end of spring or the beginning of spring on our way out. So like I've never even watched leaves fall off a tree, and hail has brought the family on the road, and we've gotten to see all the seasons now besides just hurricane season and snowbird season.
Yeah.
So
All right,
I don't know.
Kyle,
The
you got
extreme
work to do.
cold is pretty good. Yeah, I've got work to do.
Yeah.
I gotta do that one.
You got to get
And
him
that
back
one.
on track sometime. Like, Kyle,
And
man, I
that
got
one.
something to do.
All right, brother.
Although I was
Appreciate you
trying to
coming
be
on.
in my own world today, I had my
See?
headphones on. I was trying to listen to the podcast, and he kept interrupting me over himself. I'm like, you keep talking over yourself, Andy.
All right, go real quick. Bye, everybody.
All right. See y'all.
See ya.